Hi everyone, and welcome back to the AI Lab by Optas.ai. This is episode 4, and today we're talking about deepfake videos and rights, what they are, who they harm, and how AI companies are responding. Deepfakes have quickly become one of the most talked about issues in AI because they raise real concerns about privacy, consent, identity, and trust. In this episode, we'll break down what deepfakes are, why they matter, and what some companies are doing to address the risks. Let's get into it.
You know, it really wasn't that long ago that AI-generated video just felt like a glorified party trick. I'm sure you remember it.
Oh, absolutely.
We were all laughing at those mildly glitchy videos of, celebrities doing silly dances or maybe historical figures rapping. It was a novelty.
Right, it was just an internet culture having fun.
Exactly. But if you've spent any time online lately, you've probably noticed that the vibe has completely shifted. We have rapidly moved from chuckling at funny AI to trying to navigate this incredibly tense digital minefield where seeing is absolutely no longer believing.
It really is a profound shift in how we interact with reality. And the transition happened remarkably fast.
Yeah?
We've crossed this threshold where the tech isn't just generating amusing hypothetical scenarios anymore. It is actively rewriting the visual and audio evidence of our daily lives.
Which is terrifying.
It is. And the implications of that are starting to touch almost every single aspect of society.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if you are trying to navigate the modern internet, conduct business, or honestly just exist online without being completely duped, understanding this shift is essential knowledge.
Yeah, it really is mandatory at this point.
So today's deep dive is pulling from a massive stack of briefings, data reports, and legislative summaries about where deepfakes are right now in the year 2025. We need to look at the mechanics of the threat, the very real human cost, and how both the law and the tech industry are scrambling to put the genie back in the bottle.
I think the most important framing to keep in mind as we look at these sources is that deepfakes are no longer just a, content moderation issue for social media platforms to casually manage.
Right.
They have escalated into a fundamental human rights and global security problem.
Before we can even talk about defending ourselves, we have to define what actually crosses the line. Because people use the term deepfake pretty loosely these days.
You do, yeah. Everything is a deepfake to some people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So based on the briefings, what separates a deepfake from, say, a heavy beauty filter or just a cool color correction effect on a video?
Well, the distinction really comes down to intent and synthetic generation.
Okay.
The baseline definition we are working with is that a deepfake is AI-generated synthetic media that makes a real person realistically appear to say or do something they never actually did.
So it's not just smoothing out a wrinkle.
No, not at all. You are using machine learning algorithms to imitate a real person's face or their body, voice, or actions in a way specifically designed to mislead the viewer into accepting a fabricated reality.
Got it. So a regular edit is like putting a fresh coat of paint on a house, but a deepfake is like hijacking someone's digital puppet and pulling the strings.
That's a very helpful analogy. Yeah, you are manipulating the core identity of the subject.
Wow.
And according to the threat intelligence in our sources, this manipulation generally falls into 4 distinct high-risk categories.
Whatcha?
You've got non-consensual sexual content, impersonation and fraud, political or public interest deception, and finally, the unauthorized commercial use of a person's likeness.
And the numbers attached to those categories in the 2024 and 2025 data are just staggering. I mean, the scale is just exploding.
It really is.
European Parliamentary Research Service data published in 2025 states that a deepfake attack occurred every 5 minutes in 2024.
Every 5 minutes.
Yeah. And on top of that, generative AI-based deepfakes jumped 118% in that same year.
What's fascinating here is how quickly the threat vector has shifted. For years, experts worried about deepfakes primarily as a theoretical political misinformation issue.
Right, like faking a politician's speech to sway an election.
Exactly. And while that's absolutely still a major threat, the reality is that the technology has been weaponized into a massive industrialized fraud operation hitting businesses directly.
Wow.
The data shows that 49% of companies experienced audio or video deepfakes recently.
Almost half. That brings us to the financial cost, which is honestly almost hard to wrap your head around.
The numbers are astronomical.
The World Economic Forum reported over $200 million in deep fake fraud losses in the first quarter of 2025 alone.
And that is just a 3-month window.
Right. And the sources highlight this specific case flagged by Deloitte that reads like a sci-fi heist movie.
Oh, the video conference one.
Yes. A worker was convinced to transfer $25 million after attending a deepfake video conference.
That case is the perfect example of how the mechanics of this fraud actually work in practice.
Wait, how does that even happen? Like, how do you fake a whole live video conference?
Well, the fraudsters don't just hack a system, they hack human psychology.
Okay, what do you mean?
So in that Deloitte case, the attackers likely used readily available public audio of the company's executives, maybe from, earnings calls or public speeches.
Sure, that stuff is everywhere.
Right. And they trained an AI voice cloning model on it. Then they paired that cloned audio with a real-time face-swapping program on a standard video call.
Oh my God.
So the employee on the other end is looking at their screen, seeing their boss's face, and hearing their boss's exact voice instructing them to authorize a transfer.
That is wild.
When you are on a live video call, human psychology dictates that you trust your eyes and ears.
So the basic verification systems we've relied on for our entire evolutionary history are just being systematically bypassed.
Yes, exactly. The attackers are leveraging our innate biological trust against us.
Man. But as huge as those corporate financial numbers are, the data makes something else painfully clear. The primary victims of this technology aren't just faceless corporations losing money. They are everyday individuals.
Yes.
The human cost here is deeply personal, and honestly, the demographic realities are incredibly grim.
The crisis has a stark, undeniable concentration of harm. I mean, according to Australia's e-safety commissioner, 98% of deepfake material online is pornographic.
98%.
Yes, and 99% of that material depicts women and girls.
It's just sickening.
A 2025 UN joint statement corroborates the scale, warning that between 90 and 95% of deepfakes online are sexualized images of women.
So we are talking about the targeted degradation of half the population on a massive industrialized scale.
Correct.
The psychological damage outlined in the sources is profound. We're talking severe humiliation, paralyzing anxiety, and just a total loss of control over one's own identity.
It's devastating for the victims.
But I have to admit, I struggled with a specific concept while reading through these victim accounts.
What's that?
Well, if a video is completely synthetic, right? If a computer generated it and the event never actually took place in the physical world, why does the psychological harm feel so devastatingly real to the person targeted?
Because the social consequences are entirely real.
How so?
Think about the mechanism of how reputation works. The public meaning of victims, employers, their family members, their community is presented with a version of the victim that appears undeniably authentic.
Right.
The human brain struggles to unsee a realistic image, even if it is explicitly labeled as fake later on.
So the damage is essentially done the second the video is viewed.
Yes, the victim is instantly forced into a defensive posture. They have to constantly defend a reality that has been digitally overwritten by someone else.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. They are put on trial to prove that a completely fabricated event didn't happen, which is incredibly difficult to do. Their identity has essentially been stolen and weaponized against them.
And the briefings point out that this isn't just happening to, famous actresses or high-profile public figures anymore.
Not at all.
There are massive safeguarding issues happening right now in schools. The Australian e-safety system reported that everyday school children are using online services to digitally nudify their own peers.
Yeah, it's horrific.
This has transformed from a dark web tech issue into a massive everyday school safety crisis.
The reason it has reached middle schools is because the barrier to entry for creating this content has basically plummeted to zero.
You don't need to be a hacker anymore.
Exactly. You no longer need a supercomputer or advanced coding skills. You just need a smartphone, a cheap subscription to some offshore app, and a grudge.
Wow.
But beyond the individual psychological harm, there is a secondary macro-level psychological impact to all this that researchers are calling the liar's dividend.
The liar's dividend. I found this concept terrifying when I was reading the sources. Can you break down how that actually works?
So the liar's dividend is essentially the inverse of a deepfake attack.
Okay.
Because the general public is becoming highly aware that hyper-realistic fakes exist, bad actors can now take authentic, real evidence and simply dismiss it by claiming it was AI generated.
Oh, I see.
Imagine real, authenticated footage of a human rights atrocity or a genuine video of a politician getting caught in a massive lie.
Right.
The perpetrators can now confidently step up to a microphone and say, "That never happened. That's just an AI deepfake created by my enemies."
So the mere existence of fake video makes real video suddenly worthless. It becomes like a get-out-of-jail-free card for terrible behavior.
It creates an environment of total epistemological doubt. If society can no longer agree on basic visual reality, democratic debate becomes almost impossible.
Yeah, how do you even argue facts at that point?
You can't. It chills public participation and entirely erodes public trust in institutions, journalism, and, each other.
Okay, if the damage is this profound, from ruining a middle schooler's life to stealing $25 million from a corporation to literally undermining global democracy, what happens when you try to fight back?
That is the big question.
Let's say you are targeted. What do? This leads us directly into the tangled, incredibly complicated web of global legal rights outlined in our sources.
Yeah, if you are targeted, your first question is naturally, what are my rights? But the sources emphasize a very frustrating reality. There is no single globally recognized deepfake right. Instead, it is a fragmented bundle of laws that shift entirely depending on your physical location and where the data is hosted.
Right, it's this weird patchwork of privacy laws, consent regulations, defamation, data erasure, and fraud protection.
Exactly.
Let's look at how different countries are approaching this, because the legal philosophies are wildly different. The European Union's approach heavily leans on their AI Act.
Right. The EU is approaching this primarily from a data and transparency perspective.
Okay.
Their legislation focuses on forcing the creators of AI systems to be transparent about what their models are doing, pushing labeling and provenance tracking into law. They want the digital supply chain to be clearly marked.
But then you look at the UK, and they take a much more direct punitive approach.
They do.
Their Online Safety Act, along with a newer 2025 law, makes the actual creation of purported intimate images without consent a criminal offense. They are targeting the behavioral harm and the intent of the creator, not just the technical transparency of the software like the EU.
Meanwhile, in the US, the regulatory framework has historically been more hands-off regarding speech. So the Federal Trade Commission has stepped in to heavily target the impersonation and fraud side.
Going after the financial scams we discussed earlier.
Exactly. Follow the money.
But there was a major milestone for personal protection in the US that the briefings highlight. The Take IT Down Act, which was signed into law on May 19, 2025.
Yes, that was huge.
This creates federal removal obligations for platforms specifically regarding non-consensual intimate visual depictions. It forces the websites hosting the content to actually act.
Right.
And then you have Australia, where the eSafety Commissioner allows people to report image-based abuse to a centralized authority that can force platforms to take it down. Contrast all of that with China, which implemented very strict 2025 AI labeling rules that legally restrict anyone from concealing or removing AI labels.
You can really see the vast spectrum of regulatory philosophies at play here. You've got transparency in the EU, criminalization in the UK, platform liability in the US, centralized reporting in Australia, and strict state control of labeling in China.
I have to say, reading through all this, it sounds like playing a high-stakes game of legal whack-a-mole.
It definitely is.
If your rights completely change depending on what country you happen to be standing in, or worse, where the server hosting the deepfake is physically located, how is an everyday person supposed to actually protect themselves? You shouldn't need an international law degree to get a fake video of yourself taken off the internet.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this confusing legal patchwork is exactly why a new universal baseline principle is starting to emerge globally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Regardless of the specific local laws, regulators and human rights advocates are pushing for a universal standard of consent first, disclosure second, and incredibly fast removal when harm occurs.
That makes sense.
The underlying legal theory might change across borders, but those three pillars just have to become the standard operating procedure everywhere.
Which brings us to the tech industry itself. Because the law is notoriously slow, and as we just established, highly fragmented across borders, the immediate front line of defense kind of has to fall on the tech platforms.
It does. They're the gatekeepers.
Let's look at how the creators of these AI models and the platforms hosting the videos are attempting to clean up the mess.
Well, they are essentially trying to build the airplane while they are already flying it.
Yeah.
The first major tactic is labeling and disclosure. Platforms like YouTube and TikTok now require creators to explicitly flag realistic AI content when they upload it.
Okay.
And Meta is using industry-standard indicators across Facebook, Instagram, and Threads to visually label AI-generated posts so users have a clear visual cue.
But a visual label relies on the honor system of the person uploading it, right? Or on the platform successfully detecting it.
That's the problem, yes.
So the tech companies are trying to go deeper into the file itself with something called provenance and watermarking. Our sources spent a lot of time on the C2PA open standard.
Yes, C2PA. That stands for the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity.
Right. And how does that actually work under the hood? I mean, for someone who isn't a software engineer.
Sure. Think of C2PA less like a visual watermark on the screen and more like a digital passport securely embedded into the file's underlying code.
Okay, a digital passport.
Using cryptography, it attaches metadata that tells you exactly where the image or video came from, what device captured it, and what software was used to edit it.
Oh, that's smart.
Google, for instance, launched a detector for their specific synthide watermark in 2025, and they've already watermarked over 10 billion pieces of content.
10 billion.
Yeah. They are embedding signals directly into the pixels of images or the sound waves of audio files. Adobe and Microsoft are aggressively expanding these content credentials as well.
And AI companies are also implementing model-level safeguards to try and stop the bad content from being generated in the first place, right? Like OpenAI's DALL-E 3 automatically embeds that C2PA metadata into everything it creates. And their Sora video model has strict likeness misuse filters hard-coded into the system.
Yes, exactly.
If you try to prompt it to create a video of a real, recognizable person without their explicit consent, the model is designed to block the prompt entirely.
Between those safeguards, expanded takedown tools on YouTube and Meta, and cross-industry collaborations like the Munich AI Elections Accord or the Partnership on AI, the industry really is throwing an immense amount of engineering power at the problem.
And here's where it gets really interesting and honestly a little bit infuriating.
Uh-oh.
The briefings clearly point out some massive blind spots in these tech solutions.
Yes, the technical armor has some very significant vulnerabilities. The primary weakness is that these invisible watermarks and metadata trails like C2PA, they only work if everyone is playing by the rules using participating compliant tools.
This was the wildest part of the research to me. Bad actors don't use compliant tools.
Right.
They just use open source AI models that don't have these likeness filters or C2PA metadata built into them at all. Or even simply, wait, let me stop you and make sure I understand this correctly.
Go ahead.
Let's say a bad actor creates a deepfake on a secure, compliant platform, and it has all that fancy C2PA metadata embedded in the code. Can't they literally just pull up the video on their smartphone, hit screen record, and capture the video playing on their screen?
Yes, they absolutely can.
Doesn't a simple screen record completely strip away all that embedded metadata?
It does. When you screen record, you are creating an entirely new file. You are only capturing the raw pixels being displayed on the monitor. You are not capturing the hidden cryptographic code embedded in the original file.
So aren't these billions of embedded watermarks basically a locked screen door on a house with no walls?
That is exactly the limitation. Stripping the metadata is as easy as tearing the origin tag off a mattress.
That's so frustrating.
Provenance tracking is a fantastic tool for verifying authentic media like it allows journalists to prove a real video is actually real.
Right.
But it is not a silver bullet for the universal detection of fakes. Technical fixes alone are simply insufficient to stop a dedicated bad actor.
Relying solely on the tech companies to engineer their way out of this is a flawed strategy from the start.
It requires a holistic combination. You need the technical watermarks, yes, but you also need ruthless platform enforcement, massive public awareness campaigns so people understand how to verify what they're seeing, and most importantly, legal teeth to severely punish the bad actors when they inevitably bypass the technical safeguards.
So as we wrap up this briefing, let's look at the journey we've just taken.
It's been a lot.
We started by defining how deepfakes have evolved from a funny internet novelty into a highly industrialized machine for financial fraud and deeply personal rights violations. We saw how the attacks happen every 5 minutes, driving hundreds of millions in corporate losses, while simultaneously devastating the lives and reputations of everyday individuals, overwhelmingly women and girls. We navigated the maze of global laws, looking at how the EU regulates transparency while the US and UK are trying to regulate specific harms and fraud. And we looked at the billions of digital watermarks the tech industry is deploying, while acknowledging that a simple screen record can still defeat them.
It is a complex and constantly shifting landscape, and it requires constant vigilance.
And the reason we are bringing all of this directly to you is because this is no longer a theoretical tech debate happening in a Silicon Valley boardroom.
Not at all.
Whether you are a corporate finance executive sitting at your desk looking at a screen, a student hanging out online with your peers, or a voter trying to make sense of the evening news, understanding your rights and understanding the severe limitations of current tech safeguards is your absolute best armor. So what does this all mean?
It means that the era of implicit trust in digital media is over. When real people and their digital likenesses are involved, we have to demand that clear disclosure, verifiable consent, and rapid removal become the absolute baseline, not just a feature we hope the platforms eventually implement. We have to treat our digital identities with the exact same security and legal gravity as our physical ones.
It's a whole new world, and we all have to fundamentally adjust our baseline of skepticism.
We do. And as we close out this deep dive, this raises an important question, one that expands on everything we discussed today.
What's that?
If the liar's dividend continues to grow, if bad actors can continuously dismiss reality and deep fakes keep flooding the internet to the point where screen records bypass all our watermarks, what happens to our recorded history?
Yeah.
We are entering an era where future generations might look back at the digital archives of the 2020s and have absolutely no way of knowing which historical events actually happened and which were simply rendered by a machine. We aren't just muddying the waters of our present reality, we might be permanently breaking the X-ray machine of history itself.
Thank you for listening to episode 4 of the AI Lab. We hope this episode gave you a clearer understanding of deepfake videos and rights and why this conversation matters right now. Please subscribe for more, and we invite you to join our community of learners by signing up to receive your free resource guide. If you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to reach out at contact@optes.ai. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of the AI Lab.